Hello, my beautiful baddies. Welcome back to yet another episode of Your Inner Baddie Speaking. Today is a fun one. We dive right into creative expression, how to really release your feelings when you don't feel like you can say them out loud, and finding, creative ways, honestly, to release your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts. A lot of people, you hear about it nowadays, journaling, meditation, certain creative ways or certain ways to kind of make sense of what's going on in your mind, right? Make sense of what's flowing through you and be able to find a way to express it. A lot of people say that dance is an expression, journaling is certainly something a lot of people really enjoy, and that's something that's been very popular these days, is writing your thoughts down and kind of gaining clarity that way, right? For a long time, I struggled to give my thoughts, my feelings, and particularly feelings and emotions, I struggled giving them a voice. I struggled giving them my voice. And I didn't always know what the right words were to express how I felt. I wasn't always quite sure if I was understanding how I was feeling. And I think that's a large way of why I lean so much into music. I think, done a whole episode about how music can really help your healing. It can help you, put a finger on or a pulse on what you are feeling in that moment, right? It kind of connects you to, oh my God, somebody put words together that I couldn't, right? And that is a form of creative expression. And everybody is different, right? So your creative expression might look different than mine. But one that I discovered, and I don't even think I really knew at the time this is what I was doing. I don't really think I thought of, okay, I can't voice my feelings and my pain and my hurt and all of this, but I can write it down, and not journaling, because I think I've mentioned on another episode, but I cannot for the life of me hold a consistent journal. I have tried so many times in childhood, in adulthood, to get a journal, start writing in it, and keep going, right? They're just not for me. I start, I stop, I think, okay, I haven't gone so long, I'll keep writing in it, and then I forget about it, and then I feel like I'm in a good place and I don't journal, because in my mind you only journal when something's wrong, which is not the case. And so I just end up going completely off the rails when it comes to journaling. So not everybody's creative expression will work for you. This is not a one size fits all. But I started writing down my thoughts, not journaling them, but writing poetry. And I say at the time that I don't really know what I was doing, because I just felt as if I was kind of pouring onto the page. And this is a sad memory to kind of conjure, but I remember specifically one time holding a notebook that I had. I think it was for homework. I was working on homework, and then an argument ensued at home, and I wanted to be left alone, but no matter where I went, I was followed by somebody yelling at me. And I ended up locking myself in the bathroom with my notebook. And I don't know what subject it was, but I just started, tears falling down the face, and I just started writing on the page. But I wasn't writing my homework anymore. I wasn't doing my homework. I was very much just pouring out what I was feeling. Very raw, very intense emotions. And as a kid, emotions are automatically more intense than they are as you learn to regulate, as you learn how you deal with things, as you learn techniques to kind of help you, right? But when you're a kid, you don't have any of that. I mean, you're kind of learning as you go. And so feelings feel very intense. It's why like all the time in like high school and middle school, I thought, oh my God, this is like the end of my world, because everything was such a big deal to me. It was like, you get into an argument with one kid at school, or like you're on the outs or something, and you think, oh my God, this is how it's gonna be forever. Like I'm gonna be stuck in social purgatory forever, or like we're gonna be mad at each other forever, and then like the next day you're like besties again. But again, I'm locked in this bathroom, and I'm just, it didn't even feel like I was writing. It just felt as if like my brain was moving, or my brain was thinking, and therefore my pencil was moving. And if you're watching the YouTube, you will see that I have quite the collection of poetry. I've got 3 notebooks here filled to the brim with poetry. Because as I started writing, I kind of found it very therapeutic, and not in a sense that like it solved my problems, because I'll tell you what, creative expression is just one form of getting it out. It doesn't solve anything necessarily, but it lets you, it's like venting, right? It's kind of as if like you're talking to a friend and you're getting shit off your chest, or you know, you're going to therapy and you're getting it off your chest, except for you don't have that sounding board coming back to you. It's just a one-way street. And poetry was my one-way street for a long time. And growing up hiding my emotions, a lot of the time, don't get me wrong, it's not like I was an emotionless person, but for a lot of the times where I felt strongest were also the times that I tried to make sure that nobody knew that that's how I was feeling. And so poetry became an escape of, I can tell the pages what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, but I can't voice it to somebody else, because with other people can come biases, it can come with judgment, it can come with tough love sometimes, it can come with pity, it can come with a lot of different factors that you don't know when you step into that. It's kind of the unknown. When you go to somebody else and you tell them how you're feeling, you have no control and you have no idea how somebody is going to react. Like, I've definitely been in positions where I've said pieces of how I felt, like not even saying the full thing, and gotten back some comments of like, okay, yeah, this is exactly why I wouldn't talk to you, or I wouldn't tell you anything. You've just basically proven to me that you are not a safe space. And especially when you're a kid, you feel like so misunderstood. You feel like, oh, nobody understands me, nobody gets me, which is part of why I connect so much with music, again, because it feels like somebody who's not directly in your life understands what you're going through. Like, you know, you're going through heartbreak and you hear songs of heartbreak and getting over heartbreak and remembering who you are, or, you know, fuck that guy, or, you know, some type of shit like that, right? It makes you feel better because you're like, oh, it's not just me. I'm not the only one having these feelings. I'm not the only one that's ever been broken up with. I'm not the only one that's ever felt this type of feeling before. And instead of having somebody to soundboard with, or somebody to vent to, or music to kind of say it in the words that made me feel understood, I think there was a lot of times where I just needed to get it out on the page so that I could understand myself a little bit more. And creative expression, whatever avenue creatively you connect with is sort of a way to understand yourself a bit better, the way that you move with it, the way that you think through it, the way that the words lay out to you, the way that your emotions translate on a page into a dance, into boxing perhaps. Like, it doesn't have to be words necessarily. I just happen to lean very much into, which is ironic that journaling isn't my thing, is that I always have leaned towards words. Like, I think that's why I'm a very big on words of affirmation, and also how I've fallen in traps in relationships, because the words sound so great and the actions do not translate to those words at all. I'm very big on words, and I am very careful when choosing them. And especially because when I was hiding a lot of my emotions and I wasn't necessarily revealing all of myself and everything that was going on in my head to the people around me, when I did talk or when I did speak, it was very thought out. Sometimes not, don't get me wrong, we've all had moments, especially when you're growing up, like you just say shit. Like, that's a part of growing up. It's like, as you're learning who you are and how your emotions come to you, you just kind of say a bunch of shit sometimes. And I've definitely been in moments where, like, you know, when you first start drinking, or when you're in situations for the first time, or when you get into a heightened emotional state, I have not always chosen my words very carefully. But when I am in a semi-level-headed state, or, you know, not at the top point of my heightened emotions, or not, you know, impaired in the sense that I have something else in my system like alcohol that might change the way that I'm thinking or feeling, my words were definitely very selective, because again, when you are hiding something, or when you are not telling people fully how you think and feel, you are very particular, because you have to step around it. Like, in your head, you see this like roundabout on the road, right? And in the middle of the roundabout is all of your thoughts and feelings. And as you're going around the roundabout, you're like, I feel comfortable telling so-and-so at the first turn, you know, one slice of it. And then at the second turn, maybe I open up a little bit more. At the third turn, maybe it's an environment that I feel most comfortable in, and I let them in more than I do anyone else or anything else, you know? But I never ever crack into the middle of that area. I never fully say the whole thing. And so it's me dancing around it and having to decide who gets to hear what and how I'm going to phrase it. And also there's times where, yeah, I was being very particular in how I was saying it, but I was begging on the inside that somebody would just push a little bit deeper to make me open up that center and tell them everything. Again, it's usually when you want people to press that they never do, and it's when you're holding it all in and you're literally at the brink of an emotional breakdown and somebody goes, "Are you doing okay today? You don't look all right." And boom, the river flows. And I'm not saying even then that I will fully open up, but my emotions might start spilling out of me. And so that's kind of what poetry was to me. It was my emotions spilling out of me onto a page. And it helped me both get those feelings out of my body, because I was definitely, and I still do, anyone who knows me knows I have a tight neck and tight shoulders because that is my like go-to defensive posture. It's my go-to I'm scared posture. It's my go-to I'm cold posture. Like, I very much tighten that area, and that's where I hold on to a lot of feelings. And I've been doing this since I was a kid. So unfortunately, I have quite a lot of lasting issues from it. But I say all that to, those words on the page helped release a little bit of it. I definitely was still storing way too much inside, and until I fully went to like therapy and learned to trust people more and learned to open up, and then I honestly swung to the opposite degree of just like opening up and trusting everybody, and then learning that like, okay, maybe don't go too fast and don't go too slow. Maybe there's a middle ground, right? And I would like to think that I have finally found a middle ground. But at the time, it was very much like I needed to get it out, but I also needed to understand, what is it I'm feeling? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling angry? Am I feeling, am I feeling attacked? Am I feeling insecure? What am I feeling? And the younger you are, the harder it is to identify what you're feeling. Like, a lot of the times, I definitely poured out anger onto the page, only to realize that I was just deeply sad for feeling abandoned. Like, there's a lot of times that sometimes the emotion that you think you're feeling is actually like it's kind of like, I don't know, have you guys ever had, there's like tons of candies that are like this, but the first one that came to mind is one that I loved as a kid, and they're called Reasons. And it's chocolate on the outside and caramel on the inside, but it's like a thicker caramel. And so it's like anger would be like the chocolate wrapping around my sadness, which was my caramel. And until you broke past that, or until I wrote the words on the page, then I could finally feel the real emotion that I was feeling. And so, a lot of the poetry that I wrote, it's very, in my mind, dark. It's coming from someone who's hurt. It's coming from somebody who feels like they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's coming from somebody who doesn't understand what's going on, doesn't understand why things are happening to her, who's scared, who's confused, who's sad that like she can't wake up every day and feel like good. And I think I'll actually let you guys in on a fun little memory, which is also on I have like a digital photo frame, and it's one of my favorite photos. And I think I might have talked about this on a previous episode, but if you haven't listened to that episode, or if you don't remember me saying it because maybe I just thought I said it and didn't actually say it, there's a photo of me when I'm a little kid. Well, there's several photos of me when I was a little kid, and a lot of them I'm happy in them, right? There's one where I think it was some like school dance or something, and my grandfather was in town, and he had picked me up and held me while we were dancing, and my head is like back, and I have the biggest smile on my face, and it is actually making me tear up right now because my grandfather passed last year. And in about a week or so, I'll be meeting up with that side of the family for happy reasons. But part of the time that we will spend together will be remembering him and his time with us. And while I am happy to share those times and those moments with people, it's like when you think about it, it gets sad, and especially when I'm thinking about a happy memory. And so I was just full smiles. He's full smiles. I'm full smiles. And I just look like the happiest little girl on the planet. And every time I see that photo, I just think to myself, like, I just want to be as happy and carefree as that little girl in the photo. And that was part of, seeing all of these emotions on these pages is, this little girl, or this girl who wrote this poetry and was expressing herself, didn't even feel safe enough to speak about a lot of this stuff. Didn't feel like she had a way to express it except for these intense words on a page. There's also some some poetry about, like, I think it was bored in class once, and I would write poetry about being bored in class, and I've written about other things, but a lot of this stack of books right here, of journals right here, is very deep, intense emotions. And I truly believe that if I hadn't found a creative expression to release a lot of this, I would be in even worse shape than I thought I was growing up, because creative expression and finding a way to allow yourself to be true to what's going on in your head, to be true to what you are feeling, to be able to let it out, is so incredibly important. You bottle it up and you bottle it up and you bottle it up and you bottle it up, and where does it go besides misplaced things or misplaced conversations or misplaced emotions? It gets let out in so many other ways, or it gets, pent up so much that later down the line you're upset about things that you don't even understand are actually rooted in things that happened years ago. I mean, it is real when they say that childhood trauma follows you into adulthood. Unfortunately, that shit is true, even if you have expressed yourself. I am living proof of that. However, time, dedication, and understanding yourself and what you are feeling truly, truly does help unwind and pull at that thread. I feel like poetry pulled at the thread of how I truly was and who I truly was, even if other people didn't know it, even if, I didn't say a word to a fucking soul. The words on the page knew who I was. It was like my diary, basically. Like, every time I felt some way, I would write. And that's probably why my parents encouraged me to go to school for writing, and that's probably why I am in the career that I am in, because a part of me does really love the idea that words can express things sometimes greater than your voice does. I also love spoken word poetry, but for me, reading it in silence and the way that people can interpret what's on the page is beautiful, because what I have written, I will read with my bias, my emotions, my tempo, my speed, my frame of mind, but somebody else might read the same poem and think, like, I remember one time I did let a teacher of mine in high school read some of my poetry, and I thought it's just some sad, angsty shit, right? I'm a teenager, I've got some sad, angsty shit, and I'm just really just working through my emotions, but I'm thinking that, this might be greater than myself, right? And she could see hope in some of these poems where I didn't see hope at all. I'm like, oh my God, no, this is about someone deeply rooted in pain and who doesn't know their next move. And she's thinking of it as it's somebody deeply rooted in pain that is hoping that their next move will dissolve this pain. So I truly think that words and the way that different people read them, that's why I love books. I love movies, don't get me wrong. Oh my God, I love a movie. But I love books as well, because what I will create in my head and how I will picture the characters and how I will craft the story can be slightly different than how others do. Of course, the plot will remain the same, but my interpretation can be different. And I thought I would leave you with maybe one or two excerpts from how I was when I was a kid. And this is definitely deeply emotional for me. Cut. There's definitely one I loved in this book. It's definitely very vulnerable for me to read some of these, but I'll leave you with a couple, just so you see a bit into who I was at the time that I wrote these and reading them now as the person I am. And so the first is very appropriate. It's titled "So Natural is Poetry." I cannot write on cue or be told what to do. It just happens when I'm in the mood. When it's not the right time, it's like I'm at a standstill. My mind is blank, eyes caught in headlights. There's nothing I can do. But when it happens, it just happens. So natural is poetry, that when it comes, it simply pours out of my mouth and places itself on the page, as if my hand was not involved at all, like a heartbeat you don't control. So natural is poetry, so natural am I. There's so many others that are in this book, but I think I'll pull from another one, because there was one I read earlier that I really liked. I don't really have a title for this one, so we're just going to dive right in. The sweetest lips turn away angry fists. As you wrap your arms around me, all fight is lost as I give in to this. Soft breaths as you whisper in my ear. Close my eyes and I feel you near. My problems turn to ash as you release my fear. I'm left stripped, bare to the bone, vulnerable, something I never show. Warm hands against the unknown. All time stops as we become one. No stopping now. I refuse to go back to such anger that here I lack. Never let me go. I don't want the shame. I want your touch, your smell, just as you came. Your soul free in the sky, just as a dove. Your sweet lips unlocked my love as I shed my anger to rise above. Obviously, that one was very much about releasing anger. I think a lot of times I really, really wanted to let go. Okay, this one is definitely a bit of a hard one to read. It's a bit dark, so if you don't want to hear about suicidal thoughts or that type of thing, feel free to end the episode now. Protect your peace. If this is something that might resonate with you, or something that you feel like you would like to hear, then please feel free to stay. I'm depressed. Do I really need to spell it out to you? I don't care if what I'm saying hurts you. I don't care if I'm yelling, because those are my true feelings. I'm so sick of your feelings. I'm so sick of your talking. It's not about you. I'm the one talking. Does it even matter what I have to say? Should I even bother to stay? Do what you want. All you do is make me unhappy, on the verge of leaving, ready to go my own way. I've cried myself to sleep too many times. I can't even look you in the eye. Take your best shot. See what I care. I'm done having hope. Do it. I dare. You drove others insane. Is it my turn now? If so, I'll leave, never to be found. As if I wasn't unhappy enough, you live to make things worse. You deepen my suicidal thoughts. Bet you had no idea I've had those thoughts. What can I say? It's a little hard to express. It's bad enough I think I'm worthless, but for you to think so too makes me hopeless. I need some stability. I think I need help, but I don't think you could ever help. So long I've wished to tell you, but you've never cared. Turn your head away and pretend I didn't share. I've shown you the signs, but you went ahead and denied. So here's my last try. And now you have a little bit of insight into younger me who needed these pages to release a lot of these thoughts I struggled with, the pain that I struggled with, and I'm very happy to say that reading them today and reading them in the perspective of who I am now, it does make me tear up, the sadder ones, like the one I just read, but for a different reason of, like, I just wish that I could reach out to younger me's hand and hold it and tell her that this is not where your mind stays. This is not where your life stays, and that you are not this pain, and that there's so much beyond the lens that I was trapped in. And I hope it's almost like reading them now is like me giving a hug to my younger self. And sometimes just remembering how far I've truly come. And I hope that you find whatever creative expression allows you to release and really be who you are and not have to have any walls around that, not have to have your walls up, that you truly find a creative space that is your safe space. And if you found a creative outlet that I haven't mentioned, please let me know, because I'm always curious what works for other people. And as long as it's not journaling, maybe it will help me too. All right, guys. I know this was a bit of a heavy one, but say it with me. I'm a fucking baddie. All right. Love y'all till next time.